well. Antonyms: but, in spite of, nevertheless, notwithstanding, on the contrary, on the other hand, yet. Alternative. Synonyms: choice, election, option, pick, preference, resource. A choice may be among many things. An alternative is, in the strictest sense, a choice between two things. Oftener it is one of two things between which a choice is to be made, and either of which is the alternative of the other, as the alternative of surrender is death. Or the two things between which there is a choice may be called the alternatives. Both Mill and Gladstone are quoted as extending the meaning of alternative to include several particulars, Gladstone even speaking of the fourth and last of these alternatives. Option is a right or privilege of choosing. Choice may be either the right to choose, the act of choosing, or the thing chosen. A person of ability and readiness will commonly have many resources. Pick, from the Saxon, and election, from the Latin, picture the objects before one with freedom and power to choose which he will, as, there were 12 horses, among which I could take my pick. A choice, pick, election, or preference is that which suits one best. An alternative is that to which one is restricted. A resource, that to which one is glad to betake oneself. Antonyms: compulsion, necessity. Amass. Synonyms: accumulate, aggregate, collect, gather, heap up, hoard, hoard up, pile up, store up. To amass is to bring together materials that make a mass, a great bulk or quantity. With some occasional exceptions, accumulate is applied to the more gradual, amass to the more rapid gathering of money or materials. Amass referring to the general result or bulk, accumulate to the particular process or rate of gain. We say interest is accumulated, or accumulates, rather than is amassed. He accumulated a fortune in the course of years. He rapidly amassed a fortune by shrewd speculations. Goods or money for immediate distribution are said to be collected rather than amassed. They may be stored up for a longer or shorter time, but to hoard is always with a view of permanent retention, generally selfish. Aggregate is now most commonly used of numbers and amounts, as the expenses will aggregate a round million. Antonyms: disperse, dissipate, divide, parcel, portion, scatter, spend, squander, waste. Prepositions: amass for oneself, for a purpose, from a distance, with great labour, by industry. Amateur. Synonyms: connoisseur, critic, dilettante, novice, tyro. Etymologically, the amateur is one who loves, the connoisseur one who knows. In usage, the term amateur is applied to one who pursues any study or art simply from the love of it. The word carries a natural implication of superficialness, though marked excellence is at times attained by amateurs. A connoisseur is supposed to be so thoroughly informed regarding any art or work as to be able to criticize or select intelligently and authoritatively. There are many incompetent critics, but there cannot, in the true sense, be an incompetent connoisseur. The amateur practices to some extent that in regard to which he may not be well informed. The connoisseur is well informed in regard to that which he may not practice at all. A novice or tyro may be a professional, an amateur never is. The amateur may be skilled and experienced, as a novice or tyro never is. Dilettante, which had originally the sense of amateur, has to some extent come to denote one who is superficial, pretentious, and affected, whether in theory or practice. Preposition: an amateur in art. Amazement. Synonyms: admiration, astonishment, awe, bewilderment, confusion, perplexity, surprise, wonder. Amazement and astonishment both express the momentary overwhelming of the mind by that which is beyond expectation. Astonishment especially affects the emotions, amazement the intellect. Awe is a yielding of the mind to something supremely grand in character or formidable in power, and ranges from apprehension or dread to reverent worship. Admiration includes delight and regard. Surprise lies midway between astonishment and amazement, and usually respects a matter of lighter consequence, or such as are less startling in character. Amazement may be either pleasing or painful, as when induced by the grandeur of the mountains, or by the fury of the storm. We can say pleased surprise, but scarcely pleased astonishment. Amazement has in it something of confusion or bewilderment, but confusion and bewilderment may occur without amazement, as when a multitude of details require instant attention. Astonishment may be without bewilderment or confusion. Wonder is often pleasing, and may be continuous in view of that which surpasses our comprehension, as the magnitude, order, and beauty of the heavens fill us with increasing wonder. Compare perplexity. Antonyms: anticipation, calmness, composure, coolness, expectation, indifference, preparation, self-possession, steadiness, stoicism. Preposition: I was filled with amazement at such reckless daring. Ambition. Synonyms: aspiration, competition, emulation, opposition, rivalry. Aspiration is a desire for excellence, pure and simple. Ambition, literally a going around to solicit votes, has primary reference to the award or approval of others, and is the eager desire of power, fame, or something deemed great and eminent, and viewed as a worthy prize. The prizes of aspiration are virtue, nobility, skill, or rather high qualities. The prizes of ambition are advancement, fame, honour, and the like. There is a noble and wise, or an ignoble, selfish, and harmful ambition. Emulation is not so much to win any excellence or success for itself, as to equal or surpass other persons. There is such a thing as a noble emulation, when those we would equal or surpass are noble, and the means we would use worthy. But at the highest, emulation is inferior as a motive to aspiration, which seeks a high quality or character for its own sake, not with reference to another. Competition is a striving for something that is sought by another at the same time. Emulation regards the abstract, competition the concrete. Rivalry is the same in essential meaning with competition, but differs in the nature of the objects contested for, which, in the case of rivalry, are usually of the nobler sort, and less subject to direct gauging, measurement, and rule. We speak of competition in business, emulation in scholarship, rivalry in love, politics, etc. Emulation of excellence, success, achievement, competition for a prize, rivalry between persons or nations. Competition may be friendly, rivalry is commonly hostile. Opposition is becoming a frequent substitute for competition in business language. It implies that a competitor is an opponent and hinderer. Antonyms: carelessness, contentment, humility, indifference, satisfaction. End of section 6.